Think back to the first time you picked up a camera, held it in your hands and pressed the shutter for the first time. Your eyes lit up and you knew you were having fun and photography was something that would stay with you forever. How much would you pay to have that feeling again? This is the Fujifilm X Half and you're watching Adventures in Aperture. Let's get started. First up, full disclosure, Fuji sent me this camera to review, but as always, they don't get any input into the review or anything like that. Now, what exactly is the X Half? Well, pay attention as this needs a little bit of explaining. Essentially, this is an 18 megapixel fixed lens digital camera, but the big difference is that the X Half is set up for vertical content creation, rather than landscape format like most other cameras. I think the best way to understand the X Half is to think of it sort of as a mashup between the Pentax half-frame 17 film camera and the legendary Ricoh GR3, all wrapped up in stunning retro chic design that Fuji has become so famous for. Far too many mirrorless cameras are bulky and heavy these days, but the X Half tips the scales at just 249 grams. And this is a genuinely pocket-friendly camera that you could carry around all day without any issues. Built around a 1-inch back illuminated sensor and paired with a fixed 32mm f2.8 lens, the X Half sports nods to analog cameras thanks to the milled dials and yes, a film winder, but more on that later. The fast fixed lens is protected by a slip-on lens hood, and 32mm is a good solid focal length that lends itself to plenty of photographic situations, from travel, landscape, street photography, city photography and even portraiture. Take a look at the rear of the X Half and you'll find a vertical LCD and a thin secondary LCD, with the two working in tandem to enable adjustment changes, and the secondary LCD displaying which film simulation you have selected, of which there are no less than 13 to pick from. There's also loads of filter options that you might want to use too. The LCDs are operated via a flick and swipe style motion, much like when you use your smartphone, and the film simulations include Fuji's classic chrome, Velvia and many more. Meanwhile, the filter options are great fun. I really like the light leak option and the fisheye filter too, but there are plenty more to pick from, including double exposure, expired film and high key. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit complicated. Remember that film winder we talked about? Well, the X Half features a film mode that restricts you to 36, 54 or 32 exposures of the same film simulation mode. During this mode, this LCD changes to replicate an old school top plate display that you would find on a film camera, and it shows how many images you've taken. This is as close as you'll get to an analog camera experience using a digital camera, and the images taken during the film mode operation are compartmentalized onto a different folder in your SD card. That winder we talked about moves you on to be ready for the next shot, and it's definitely one for the camera purists who perhaps grew up on film photography. There's a choice of 3 colour designs for the X Half, a silver and black option that I've got here, a charcoal silver and black, and an all black option. I guess the silver and black version looks great, but if I was paying my own money, I would opt for the all black colour design instead. In terms of autofocus, there's 3 options: single focus mode, continuous focus mode, and of course manual focus. There is face detection, and in good light the focus system does a decent job, but there were definitely times when it tripped up and decided to focus on my background instead of the model I was shooting at the time. So who is this camera actually for? Well, that's a difficult question because I can see a wide range of people using it. For older photographers like me, it will bring back film photography vibes without the hassle of the darkroom, and nostalgia is a powerful motivation. But also, this camera will appeal to younger photographers. The camera is fun, small and easy to carry, plus it's simple to get creative with out in the field without needing to head back home and slip the SD card into your computer ready to edit your images. There is a free dedicated X Half app which will help you import and share your images quickly, and again that adds to the appeal and fun nature of this camera. Are there compromises? Yeah, absolutely. First up, you can capture JPEGs but not RAW files, but again this is part of the deal and I can live with this. The small body does mean a small battery, but it's decent enough to get a good few hours of fun, and the viewfinder won't be to everybody's liking, but I find it okay. When it comes to image quality, the results are how you'd imagine from a 1-inch sensor, but that's not to say you can't get some really impressive results. This is a camera for experimenting with, and it's pretty impossible to get any bad photos, as hell, you're making art here. At the time of filming, the X Half is priced at £699 or $849. At first glance, that's quite a steep price tag for a mainly plastic build camera, but I don't think we should measure the X Half on specification alone. This is the whole point. Using this camera does something to you. It puts a smile on your face, and for some, especially for those who make their living with cameras, it can be very easy to fall into a rut with your photography, to simply go through the motions. And with the X Half, I don't feel I would ever be doing that. I was shooting some portraits for a model recently, and I packed my Canon R6, a full frame camera, along with a few prime lenses. But I also took along the X Half, and it was really refreshing to put down the heavy camera and just experiment with the X Half. Great fun. The X Half does shoot movies, and there is a physical stills to movie switch on the rear of the camera, and other components include a cold shoe for an external flash or a radio trigger, and that beautiful exposure compensation dial. The single SD card fits in at the bottom next to the battery, and there is a USB-C port on the side of the X Half, meaning you can easily charge it up on the go via a power bank. You know, a few months ago I made a claim that OM System had released the most beautiful camera of 2025 with the OM3, but the X Half has a good claim to that crown and is dripping with retro chic beauty. So what do I really think of the Fuji X Half? Well, as I've said before, any camera brand that's willing to try something completely different and releases a camera that stands out from the crowd of Me Too mirrorless cameras needs to be applauded. But I think Fuji has done something extra, something more profound with the X Half. It's a camera that puts fun and experimentation front and centre. And this camera will remind you of why you picked up cameras in the first place. Expensive? Yeah, maybe, but can you really put a price on that X Factor feeling that the X Half delivers? I could see a lot of more trendy wedding photographers packing the X Half alongside their regular rigs, or even smartphone photography fans picking up the X Half to make Insta-ready frames that are full of mood and character. I really enjoyed using this camera, and although $699 is a fairly steep price tag, I probably would buy this with my own money. These cameras are a bit of a luxury, but if you have the means, I don't think anybody will regret buying this camera. But what do you think of the Fuji X Half? Would you buy one? Do you see its potential, or maybe you think it's just too much of a gimmick? Let me know in the comments section below. I try to reply to every comment, and please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.